Hi everyone and welcome to the assessment review for the 5HR02 unit, Talent Management and Workforce Planning. Now this is a bit of a trickier unit on the new CIPD unit that's been released in June 2024, and you'll see why when we go into the details of it, what CIPD have done. There's a little bit of a tricky thing in there, so if you are watching this video, I promise it's really going to help you because there's a little bit of fluff that we just need to sort of break the walls down from, but we can definitely get that done. If you are new here, please like and subscribe to the channel. We do videos and breakdowns of CIPD units. We're an approved CIPD training provider, and we teach this to our learners as well. So even if you're not studying with us, we give access to these videos, these summary videos, so that you can get as much support as you possibly can. We want you to be successful in your CIPD studies, and we hope that videos like this help you be as successful as you possibly can. We're going to break down the 10 questions within this video, and we're just going to sort of talk you through the things to be wary of, the things to keep your mind on, and just help you focus on passing the question, because this one is a little bit of a trickier one when you start to read the questions, and it all makes sense if you stick with us, and we'll sort of go through how to navigate those in particular over the next sort of 10 minutes or so. So this unit is always preparation for the unit. At the start of your assignment, you're encouraged to plan your assessment work with your assessor where appropriate, agree milestones to help you monitor progress and things like that. Set yourself some targets, work to the targets. If you're going to allocate 1 to 2 hours a day, 3 hours a week, something like that, build a plan, how you're going to get through everything like that. Refer to the indicative content. Again, training providers should be providing all that for you. We build it all in the VLE in terms of a structure that you follow, but however you do it, make sure that you've got all the content that you need to be successful. Pay attention to how evidence is presented. Remember, you're working in a people practice team. This, as always in all CIPD assessments, this is a professional document. This is a professional thing, and they want you to present it as if you're presenting to that boss who's got no time for HR and just like, give me the answer. So make sure that everything is in the absolute most professional way possible. No text speak, no emojis, none of that. This is a formal report. This is potentially going all the way up to the board level and stuff like that. So always try and remember that, and ensure evidence generated for this assessment remains your own work. We can do this. This video will help. We can do this. You will get through this. There's times where work, life, everything just feels too chaotic and you don't feel like you can control what you're doing in regards to your study. We can get through this, and we will do this together. This video will help, I promise you, because you'll be reading some of these questions going, oh my God, I don't know what to do. Promise you, of all the videos, of all the ones that we're doing for these new CIPD units, and there's 3 for the 5HR01, 2, and 3, this one is the one that you need the most. So the scenario: parcel care. A long-established national parcel and package delivery service, Parcel Care, is now finding itself difficult to attract, recruit, and retain staff throughout the organization. You've just started in the position as people manager and have been asked to report to senior leaders on how these issues can be addressed. In preparation, you write answers to the 10 questions below. So previously, I think there was 13 questions in the old 5HR02. It's now been reduced to 10 questions. To help the reader, make sure that you use headings and assessment criteria references to signpost the assessment criteria being addressed. That basically means when you're answering question 1, AC 1.1 it's called, you write question 1, AC 1.1. Question 2, AC 1.2. Question 3, AC 1.3. This makes it easier for the marker to give you marks. This makes it easier for the moderators to moderate your work. This makes it easy for everyone, and it's a really easy thing for you to do. And the last thing you want is a grumpy marker. You don't want a marker to be grumpy with you, because a grumpy marker, when you hit that marginal, is it a pass, is it not a pass, they'll be like, nah, screw you, I've just had to spend 10 minutes trying to find this answer. Sounds really bad, but potentially some of them are like that. Anyway, so your evidence must consist of the following: a briefing paper set out with 10 instructions, be approximately 3,900 words in total, refer to the CIPD word count policy. This is around 390 words per question. I mean, it's exactly 390 words per question, but CIPD say that you can go 10% over or you can go 10% under. A word, either way, instantaneous fail. That's the guidance that we've been given. I would say if you do anything less than 3,800 words, you're probably going to refer in at least one of the ACs, because there's just not going to be enough depth to answer some of these. Some of these questions are really tight on word count when you go through them. So it's just something to bear in mind, so that you are going to have to be on the line, and potentially hit into some of that 10% above. You want to try and leave yourself at least 200 words if you can on the 10% maximum, just in case you refer on a question, because it can happen. And then you've got enough words to sort of roll back and add some more and stuff like that. So always try and leave yourselves to 100 to 200 words, in my view. But on with the questions. So the reason I said this one is tricky is there is a lot of scenario setting, shall we say, with these questions. New entrants to parcel force delivery, the market and other labour market competitors are advised affected parcel care's ability to compete in the labour markets. That's just background information. You are aware that workforce planning has not been carried out in the past and dedicated to persuading the leadership team that an activity is worth doing. Again, that's just background information. When we actually look at the question, and I wouldn't advise you do this, but if you look at the grading criteria, so the CIPD essential questions, and you look at these questions, basically you can put a line through the first two lines, and you can break it down to explain how parcel care can strategically position themselves in competitive labour markets. Explain the impact of the change in labour market conditions on resourcing decisions at parcel care. Analyse the impact of effective workforce planning, making clear how parcel care could benefit from this activity. They're the questions. That's exactly what you're being asked to do. Analyse the impact of effective workforce planning, making it clear how parcel care could benefit from this activity. Explain how parcel care can strategically position themselves in competitive labour markets. It is within professional qualifications sometimes, and within some units, they do add words at the beginning to sort of set a scene, set a scenario, build a picture in your mind, but it doesn't actually have any impact on the grading. New entrants to parcel delivery and other labour market competitors have adversely affected parcel care's ability to compare. Doesn't mean anything in terms of the question that you're being asked. It's just setting the scene, painting a picture. So when I say that this one's tricky, in 5HR02, they do this a lot. So they do a lot of the pre-wording and sort of scenario building within each of the questions. But when you actually look at the question and you look at the grading question, it comes this thing here where I've sort of really simplified it. So explain, again, verb is the biggest issue that people have. They don't address the verb on a verb level. So you've been asked to explain how parcel care can strategically position themselves in competitive labour markets. That's the question. Explain the impact of changing labour market conditions. Conditions is a plural. When you've got a plural within questions, so the sneaky S, as I refer to it, the sneaky S basically means that you can't just explain the impact of a changing market condition. You have to do conditions on resourcing decisions at parcel care. So you're going to have to do more than one labour market condition to be able to pass this question. It's a sneaky S, I refer to it as. You'll see sneaky S's throughout the entire syllabus. Always be on the lookout for the sneaky S. It's one of the CIPD's little tricks. Sneaky S's are hidden all over the place. Analyse the impact of effective workforce planning, making it clear how parcel care could benefit from this activity. So if you've been asked to analyse the impact of workforce planning, pros and cons of workforce planning, what's good about it, what's bad about it, what is the impact, making it clear how parcel care could benefit. So if you're looking at the pros and the cons, then take the pros and those cons of workforce planning. How could parcel care benefit is how you've been asked to answer that question. So again, try to cut through the question, do what I've done, put a line through the parts of the question that don't make any sense, wait till you actually get to the question, because otherwise you can get caught up in the story. Your study tip here is don't get caught up in the story. The question is the key. You will only pass based on the question, not the story. It's one of those things that they need to be part of a syllabus. It needs to be part of a thing to see how you can take more information, interpret it down and distill it into its critical components. But I'm telling you now, the critical component is the part that I've highlighted here. So if you look at the next one, to strengthen the argument, to introduce workforce planning, evaluate techniques that can be used to support the process of workforce planning. Currently, vacancies are advertised on Parcel Care's website. Line managers then interview shortlisted applicants. You feel that there are suitable recruitment and selection methods to use, but want to broaden the methods used. Evaluate the strengths and weaknesses of 2 different recruitment methods. On examining employee turnover rates, you feel that the rate is higher than it should be and higher than internal targets. To try to understand this, discuss differences between avoidable and unavoidable turnover. Retention of warehouse staff is an issue, as there is in many labour market competitors. Compare the following retention approaches: realistic job review, induction, job enrichment, and reward. Now, again, you'll see that there's a lot of words for each of the questions, but they just need distilling down into their core critical question. But before I give you the answer on this one, and just to let you know that CIPD Bitesize, so HRC Bitesize, we're doing bite-sized content, which is if for whatever reason you're studying with us, you get access to all this content anyway, so you'll have fully access to Bitesize. But if you're not studying with us and you're struggling with a particular AC, or you're referred and you're on your final attempt, we're going to be making short videos available across every single AC, where we break it every question down into its action points and the things that you should be doing to get a pass on that particular unit. We'll direct you to some useful content and indicative content so you can get your references and citations in order. We'll even do you a fictitious scenario so that you can understand what this means in the context of the question and how people should be looking at it, and give you sort of a scenario based, it's not the answer, it's just a scenario to sort of help you understand what the question means, whilst also giving you multiple study tips and stuff like that. CIPD Bitesize will be coming out around about October time, maybe sooner on some of these units, but the 5HR02, when this unit fully takes over, we will be making the bite-sized content available. So if you are struggling, you're not with us, don't have to fully enroll with us and stuff like that. We are going to be making these bite-sized content videos available so that you can purchase just one video to help you with a particular AC, should you be struggling at any moment in time. Anyway, back on with questions 4 to 7. So as you will see here again, I've put a line through the content that actually has no relevance to the question that's being asked. To strengthen your argument and introduce workforce planning, evaluate techniques that can be used to support the process of workforce planning. That is the question. Now, again, sneaky S, evaluate techniques, plural. Techniques means, so evaluate pros and cons, techniques, multiple. So again, whilst we say 390 words per AC, sometimes you may need to do more because the question's asking you for more. Some questions are really sort of simplistic. These 4 to 7 are quite meaty things, so you might want to try and save some words for different parts and stuff like that. But yeah, evaluate techniques. So evaluate a technique 1, pros and cons of a technique that can be used to support the process of workforce planning. Evaluate pros and cons a technique 2 that can be used in the process of workforce planning. Make sure that you've got a reference and a citation for every action point that you're doing. So if you're talking about a pro, prove it. Give me some data, give me some stats. Why is it a pro? If you give me some negative, prove it. Give me some stats, give me some data. Tell me why it's a con. Do it that way and approach it. So again, if we go to the next one, evaluate strengths and weaknesses of 2 different recruitment methods and 2 different selection methods. This is a massive question. So evaluate strengths, plural, weaknesses, plural, of 2 different recruitment methods and 2 different selection methods. So in a question like this, without spending too much time focusing on this just one question, evaluate the strengths. So I would do, as CIPD says, AC 2.3. That's your heading, and then I would put strength of recruitment method 1, strength of recruitment method 2, weakness of recruitment method 1, weakness of recruitment method 2, strength of selection method 1, strength of selection method 2, blah, blah, blah. And I would do it that way so that if I'm a marker, I can just glance down and I can go, yes, 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 all elements of the question have been answered. Now let me see if the content is right and that there's a reference in the citation and all the evidence that you need. But this AC 2.3, I'm going to tell you now, is a meaty question. You really need to give it some extra words. So if you are going to allocate some of your overflow from your 3,900, this is probably the main question. Discuss differences. Again, sneaky S, differences between avoidable and unavoidable turnover. And differences, sneaky S, between push and pull factors. And then compare the following retention approaches: realistic jobs, induction, job enrichment, and reward. So how are they different? So, comparing them, contrasting them. This is why you've got a realistic job. This is why you've got induction. This is why you've got job enrichment. This is why you've got revolt. So again, it's being quite black and white with that. And again, I've put the line through the parts of the content that isn't directly related to the question. It's just words around it before you get to the question. So try not to get caught out in the sort of the history of the question as well, as I mentioned earlier. Then we get to the final 3 questions. So this is questions 8 to 10. To influence senior leadership to accept employee turnover should be addressed. Explain the impact of dysfunction. This could be a relatively simple question. This is where you could save some of your words. I'll move it on to the next slide so that you can see it, but hopefully you're now seeing sort of the trend within these questions, and you can see that the question is just explain the impact of dysfunctional employee turnover. Parcel care employs a majority of employees on permanent full-time contracts. I feel these contracts have their place, but it's time to consider whether other types of contractual arrangements could be beneficial for the organisation, especially when demand for delivery services increases and decreases. The question is basically assess the suitability of permanent full-time contracts for delivery drivers, as well as 2 other contract types. So whether that's part-time or shift work or something like that. So again, a lot of intro, really clear, really simple question. At present, ad hoc approach taken to onboarding typically involves line manager ensuring new starter forms are complete, health and safety training provided. You identified onboarding can be improved, but first you need to convince others that the investment is worthwhile. Explain the benefits of effective onboarding. So if we do the trick again, we get rid of the bump. Explain the impact of dysfunctional employee turnover. So again, find some evidence, find some research, find some data, find some statistics, and then explain it. It's a really simple question, this one. Assess the suitability of permanent full-time contracts for delivery drivers, as well as 2 other types of contracts. So again, you might look at different contract types, look at the ones that you use in your organization. How suitable are they for delivery drivers? Assess. So again, why is it good? Why is it bad? How does it work? These are the elements of it. This is where it could be risk in the business. This is where it could be benefit in the business. And 4.2, the big wordy intro to explain the benefits of effective onboarding. I always find in questions where it says explain the benefits of, and you've got a really clear question, data and stats is key. The benefits of effective onboarding can be found via this improvement in employee retention as found by this research and this research and this research, and you just hammer it home and go, this isn't my opinion, this is scientific fact as can be found by all surveys, all the information, all the research that's been done. These are the benefits, which is increased retention, increased return on investment and things like that, reduced cost of recruitment, reduced need on the team and stuff like that. So try and keep yourself really focused in on the question. And again, a study tip is the most common thing is not answering the question on the verb level. So again, if you've been asked to explain, prove it. Assess pros and cons, ups and downs, suitability, non-suitability for something. Just always ensure that you're addressing the verb level to get through the question as well. And if you are struggling on anything or any of the questions, they're not making sense, you don't think you're addressing the verb correctly, our CIPD Bitesize, what we do is we do a verb definition on every single one of the questions that we do. So if there is a particular AC that you're struggling with, you can buy access to a video of one of those on the HRC Online website. So that way you can go, okay, well, I really don't understand AC 2.3 because it's a really big question and it's really blowing my mind. I'll buy that video, I'll watch that, I'll do a study plan, I'll follow the structure that's given, I'll look at the indicative content. I understand it now based on the scenario that HRC have done. I feel more confident in doing that. If you are a HRC online learner, you will have access to this the day that these units go live. If you are studying with somebody else, you'll be able to buy these on the HRC online website, and we will be giving you access to something which we're calling CIPD Bitesize. Thank you very much for watching this video. Absolutely best of luck with this. Try not to get caught in the trap of too much information and too much pre-game information. Break it down, distill it to the question, and you will absolutely smash this module. It's a really interesting module in terms of effective onboarding, talent retention, talent management, and getting people involved. So do hope you enjoy studying the unit, and we will catch you on the next one. Take care.